Hello. We'd like to thank you guys first for staying up long enough to see our presentation.
As a group, we've got some comic relief for you. We've actually put together a little musical number of the preamble to the Constitution.
A one, a two, a one.
No, we're not going to put you guys through that. All right, here we go.
All right, well, we have the Sixth Amendment. And the Sixth Amendment says, in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed, which district shall have been previously ascertained by law, and to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation, to be confronted with the witness against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses in his favor, and to have the assistance of counsel for his defense. So, to break that down, the accused shall have the right to a speedy public trial, the right to an impartial jury in the state where the crime is committed. They should be informed of the cause, and they should be confronted with the witnesses that are against him. They shall have the right to get a witness of their own, and they shall have the right to assistance in their defense. So coming up, there's going to be some cases that are both recent and kind of old that demonstrate the Sixth Amendment.
So the first case we chose was the Sutton case of 1920. The reason we chose a 1920 case is to show that the Constitution needs to be dynamic to cover all cases ranging from the beginning of the United States up through now. So the Sutton case started in Massachusetts. Two foreigners were accused of a bank robbery and murder. They were targeted for being foreigners because at the time the U.S. was very nativist and did not like foreigners. Along with that, there was the Red Scare at the time, which nobody liked communists, so they got mad at Sutton and Vanzetti since they were anarchists, and anybody that wasn't a strict Democrat got pushed to the side. So it was a violation of the Sixth Amendment because they didn't have the impartial jury that they should have had. However, the trial was speedy, and then they were sentenced to the electric chair and had.
Ooh. An impartial jury. Behind me is the famous photograph from a famous trial known as the O.J. Simpson trial. And this picture depicts the, if the glove does not fit, there it is, you must have quit. But I come here to provoke the question, can you get an impartial jury with celebrities? I came here to ask this auditorium, no. America, no. The world. Yeah. So, just setting the scene for you guys. In 1994, this case took place, and at the time, there was a lot of racial tension, which, did not help keep people impartial in this, case. And also, O.J. Simpson was a famous and talented athlete, so people could go into it with already having notions about the athlete, and maybe like him and, kind of let some evidence slide, and maybe they don't like him, and kind of just say he's guilty because they don't like him. Another thing that might have contributed to the reason why you can't get an impartial jury here is because Justice Lance Ito decided that it would be a good idea to broadcast this trial on live television. So now you have to be impartial, knowing that on The Tonight Show, your decision is going to be shown to the entire United States of America. That is a very difficult decision to make, even if you are not making a decision that's going to be, in everyone's newspaper the next morning. But now think about making that decision with all that pressure, all that weight on your shoulders. Are you going to be able to be an impartial juror? I don't know.
Learning from their mistakes with the O.J. Simpson trial is the new Aaron Hernandez trial. Oh, okay. He was charged last summer as part of the murder of Odin Lloyd. Attempted to correct some of the mistakes with O.J. The judge of the trial is attempting to close close the door to the media and stop some leaks and misinformation to help keep the jury as unbiased and impartial as possible, keeping the Sixth Amendment right. The trial is being delayed, as agreed by Hernandez, so it's not speedy, so to say, but because both parties have agreed to it, it is legal. So it keeps up the right of the Sixth Amendment.
Here is Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. This is a U.S. military prison founded in 2002 where they detain, interrogate, and prosecute extremely dangerous war criminals. Here at Guantanamo Bay, prisoners are held for years without a trial. This clearly contradicts the first clause of the Sixth Amendment stating the right to a speedy trial.
The fourth clause of the Sixth Amendment guarantees people the right to be informed of the nature and cause of the accusation with which they are being faced. In cases at Guantanamo Bay, people are often held without being told what they're being charged, which is in direct violation of this amendment. Also, the seventh part of this amendment gives people the right to have the assistance of a counsel for defense, which you heard earlier in the Miranda rights from 21 Jump Street, where you are guaranteed the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one will be appointed to you. And people in Guantanamo Bay are often denied access to a lawyer, which is also in contrast to what this guarantees you. This situation that has been happening in Guantanamo Bay shows that the ideas behind the Sixth Amendment are sound and the rights that they guarantee people are sound, but that there is a problem with the way that they are enforced and upheld in the country.
So this is the case of Whitey Bulger. He was all over the news for many years. He was one of the FBI's 10 most wanted, and he was believed to be responsible for at least 19 deaths. As a result of this, it was almost impossible to get an impartial jury in his trial.
First clause of the Sixth Amendment grants the accused the right to a speedy public trial.
This is recognized in the Whitey Bulger case, in which he was captured, prosecuted, and tried in a short period of time.
Okay, so these next pictures represent the Zimmerman trial, which involved the death of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin in February of 2012, and the acquittal of George Zimmerman of the crime in July of 2013. George Zimmerman was a neighborhood watch captain in Sanford, Florida, who called 911 to report a suspicious person in the neighborhood. He was instructed not to get out of his car or approach the person, but he disregarded the instructions. Moments later, neighbors reported hearing gunfire, and Zimmerman acknowledged that he shot Martin, but claimed it was in self-defense. In a police report, it was written that Zimmerman was bleeding from the nose and back of the head, and he claimed that these injuries were from Martin. It was also noted that Martin did not have a weapon.
We thought this case represented the impartial jury clause. The clause says, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state wherein the crime happened. Due to the media and technology we have nowadays, it is very hard for people to be unaware and impartial to a case, making national headlines. In the case of George Zimmerman, many people thought it had to do with racism and concluded who the guilty party was even before hearing the facts. In any case today, it is very hard to determine who has remained impartial and who has been swayed into thinking a certain way. No jury can be completely impartial because the defense and prosecution both screen members that they want to favor their case, and many people are influenced by the media.
On April 15, 2013, Zakar Zanaya and his brother allegedly planted 2 bombs at the finish line of the annual Boston Marathon. The result was 264 injuries and 4 fatalities. Zarnaya's trial is currently scheduled for early November of this year, 20 months after his charges. According to the Sixth Amendment Speedy Trial Clause, the defendant is entitled to a trial in a timely manner. The length of the trial period is determined by the crime and the amount of evidence
needed for a substantial trial. There's much controversy surrounding the long wait for the bomber's trial. One victim said, "I think it should be sooner. Everyone should be on the same page by now. It is pretty much cut and dry evidence." The delay of this case is not unconstitutional due to the necessary processes of the system and the lawyers in scheduling the trial.
The roles of the vicinage and impartial jury clauses in this case have caused some public unrest. To make this trial fair, Sarnaya is entitled to an unbiased jury. But due to the publicity of the bombing and the Boston strong spirit of Massachusetts, finding a jury that is indifferent to the circumstances have proven to be virtually impossible. The vicinage clause is reinforced by Article 2, Section 2 of the Sixth Amendment, which states that defendants are to be tried by juries and in the state where the crime was committed. The trouble is that the vicinage clause will challenge the system's ability to ensure an impartial jury. But because this is such a high-profile case, an exception will most likely be made with the permission of Congress. Sarnaya's case could be moved in a legal change of venue in order to protect his impartial jury right. We think that the Constitution should clearly state how long one must wait for a speedy trial. Oftentimes, our Constitution only hints at what is legal, and we believe that in order for it to be more effective for Americans, it should state more exact rules and deadlines.
As a group, we firmly support the ideas that are stated in the Sixth Amendment. However, we think that they're impossible to uphold in the way that we want them to be upheld. And we think that it would be best if we could find a way to enforce them better, but that does not constitute a change in the Constitution. It would be a change in our own legal system and in the way that our own country runs. So we have no proposition to make tonight.
That was a fine presentation, as were the other 9. It's now time for the jurors, the two jurors in the jury system and the judges to make some deliberations. And while they're doing that, I'm going to ask each of the schools to send up one representative. Do that, please, right now. Thank you very much.